This is VSiN, the sports betting network.
Follow the money.
That's what I always say. You always follow the money.
Yeah.
This is Follow the Money with Mitch Moss and Paulie Howard on VSiN.
Here we go. Welcome in. It is Follow the Money on VSiN, the sports betting network. Mitch Moss along with Paulie Howard. We're live in downtown Vegas. Circa Resort Casino is the spot, and a 3-hour banger lined up today. It's almost a good thing that we don't have any NBA games tonight in the playoffs because so much is going on. We do have 2 in the NHL. We'll get to that. With Eddie Olczyk coming up at the bottom of the hour. Kelly Bidlin will do some live betting tips from him on the PGA Championship in 90 minutes. How about this? Bobby Farrelly on the program in a couple of hours.
Genius.
For those who don't know, we've actually broken bread with Bobby Farrelly at the Golden Steer Steakhouse out here in town. Great dude. Always watch us when we were in the mornings. Has a movie coming out tomorrow.
Sorry, buddy. I had dinner with him the first time I met him at Andiamo at the D. That's when Kelly Stewart's boyfriend, after we were sitting down and we'd ordered the meal, he finally goes, wait a second, you did Dumb and Dumber? Now you have my attention. He hadn't sent a word up to that whole point at dinner. And then he realized
Kelly's boyfriend
realized who he was sitting next to. And I go, come on. His last name's Farrelly. How do you not connect the dots?
He also likes to fire. He comes out to Vegas, gets into the contest. We'll talk some NFL schedule with him and Steve Wiss, best bets in soccer as well. Okay, so, and by the way, the beats last night were absolutely insane, which we're going to document coming up, win-lose in 45 minutes. The PGA Championship right now, we're talking about 7 guys, 3 under. Including, you know what's funny is that so many people were on Bhatia for the Masters, and it obviously never came through. Did we hear a peep about him?
No.
And he just had another birdie shot to go to 4 under. He didn't make it, so he's going to par this one. But he is one of 7 golfers right now tied for the lead at 3 under. He is through 12 as we speak. Martin Keimer is at 3 through 11. Smalley just had a birdie attempt to go to 4, but so he's at 3 under through 6. And then everybody else in the clubhouse at 3 under, the other 4 guys.
Don't you dare count out Michael Block. 2 shots back.
Did you bet him?
No, he's 11-1 to make the cut.
You did not bet that?
No, I did not.
You were tempted. You brought it up to several guests.
There were huge differences in the prices. Down the street had the best by a wide margin. But certainly I didn't expect this. I know it's early, but the kid's through 12 and he's only 2 shots back.
I hope he does it again.
That'd be great, I know.
If he's in the mix, I mean, come on, who's not going to be pulling for something like that?
Yeah.
I can't even imagine what he was. If he was 10-1, 11-1 to make the cut, the number, he must have been, 2,000-1 to win this thing?
Any number you throw at me, I'd believe.
5,000, whatever?
Yep.
And by the way, here comes Scotty. He got to 1 over right away, but now back-to-back birdies, and he is 2 off the lead as we speak, and Scotty Scheffler is through 7. And I have to say it, Justin Thomas, please get off my leaderboard.
Oh, come on. What do you mean, Scheffler? That's like rooting for the house in blackjack. Rooting for Scheffler.
Well, I got him top 5.
Okay.
I got him top 5.
It's a good leaderboard. I love that 3 under is the leader. And there's a lot of guys in this. You know, Koepka and Spieth and a lot of guys are sitting there at 1 under. And if you're 2 over, you're not out of it as well. So we'll see how the course plays the rest of the way. And it's a great start, including something I hadn't seen before, 40 years watching golf, with Garrick Higo. And we'll hear from him in a second. So the great Seinfeld episode, adjacent to refuse is refuse. Is the eclair in the trash? It's trash then. It's trash. So he thinks I'm in the vicinity. I'm in the area. I'm on the practice green putting, getting ready to tee off. Without his watch or cell phone, his caddy is yelling at him, come on, let's go, let's go. He's late, a minute late. So he gets a 2-stroke penalty before he tees off. He's lucky he wandered over or somebody saw him. If you're 5 minutes late, you're disqualified. He would be your co-leader if he didn't have the 2-stroke penalty to start.
Yeah, he would be in the clubhouse at 3 under right now. And oh, by the way, we just got a great tweet on this, talking about prices that were available. This is from Nick on X. You can always tweet us at VSiN Live, at Mitch Moss Radio, at Paulie Howard. As he pointed out, talk about an awful beat. 1 minute late, and he happened to see him. Nick did at 225-1 for the first round leader.
Oh.
Now, again, you would some books, most I think would probably do this as a dead heat, and you'd have to split 225-1. Like right now, it'd be 8 different ways. But I mean, that's just as bad as it gets. Also, I mean, what if he puts together kind of a bad day tomorrow and he misses the cut by a stroke?
No kidding.
That could be way worse.
It's also credit to him that he stayed composed, though, and he was able to do this. But the question is, what happened? Is it on the caddy? Is it on him? This goes back to 2 weeks ago when we said, how does Adam Scott hit the wrong golf ball? That I've never seen that before. Mm-hmm. Signing an incorrect scorecard happens all the time. But then after the round, he was sitting there and like waiting for an explanation as well. I wouldn't have been late if I knew I was running late, he said.
I would not have been late if I knew I was running late. What in the hell is that?
That's the Drake Kardashian thing.
Well, also,
I didn't come this far just to come this far.
But why did he not have the cell phone nor the watch on him?
And then he had the watch on when he was doing the interview with Marty Smith. Here's Marty Smith on ESPN. Listen to this surreal piece of theater.
Eric, you leave the golf course with a 69, actually shot a 67. You spent about 20 minutes in there pleading your case to the officials about being late this morning. So share with me what your argument was.
I mean, I was obviously, so the rule is that if you're 1 second late, you're late. I was obviously there on time but late, and that's a 2-shot penalty. You have 5 minutes then until you're DQ'd. So yeah, I guess I could have taken five minutes longer, or just under that. But obviously it's unfortunate. I usually cut it fine. It was cold this morning. I was trying to stay as warm as possible coming from the range. So yeah, I think it shows a lot of mental strength, the way I just kept fighting, and it wasn't going to affect my swing or my putting. So.
Oh my God, is this the most aloof guy that we have in pro sports right now?
I was on time but late. I wouldn't have been late if I was running late. But he's saying, I'm over here practicing. Someone just let me know what's going on.
I'm over here now.
I know, but he's oblivious to what time it is. I mean, what's the caddy doing? Okay. Like, there's the caddy sitting there waiting for him to tee off, and then the caddy's yelling at him because he can see him.
Well,
and then they went through it. They continued the interview. They went through it where they have him circled about how he's on the putting green, practicing right off to the side. So he's saying, I'm here. I'm here. But that's not good enough. And then the tournament director, rules director, informed him right away. He says, a 2-stroke penalty. You're a minute late.
Is the caddy responsible to go over to him and say, hey, buddy, hop on my back. I'll give you a piggyback ride so we're not late and we don't want to get docked here 2 strokes to begin things?
Maybe he thought he was going to the bathroom and just wandered off. I don't know.
I'll be okay. I'm good to go.
I mean, you're right. 225-1 could have come in. He might miss the cut. Who knows what happens? I will say that is great mental fortitude to still go out there and have a strong round after that's how you start.
Oh, he was right with that.
I know, but that's just that is bizarre about aloof or the comments.
Now, do you know people like that?
What?
Who, I mean, just had no idea. They could have zero care in the world about being late to things. I went to high school, still a friend to this day. His name is Waylon. Love the guy.
Yeah. Would always be late?
We learned, well, this is pre-cell phone, obviously, but my buddies and I eventually learned, like if we wanted to be somewhere by 8 o'clock and we had to pick Waylon up, we had to get to his house by like 6:30 or 7 o'clock because he would never be close to being ready. And we would tell him specifically, we're leaving your place at 7:30. We have to be there at 8 o'clock. And without fail, it was just a disaster every single time. And we're like, Waylon, we're here a half an hour early. Come on, pal.
Yeah.
And my wife doesn't care.
That bad?
Oh, Paul, if we could get, when we...
never been that bad with a woman. I've never...
Oh, man, it's just...
That would drive me nuts, though, if you're always late or way off, way late.
So I'm one of those guys. I like to get to the airport a couple of hours early because I've missed a flight before, and that's been more than 20 years, and I hate that feeling, and I never want to go through it ever again. If my wife could get to the airport 30 seconds before the flight leaves, she would do it. And it just gives me more anxiety than... So she wants to get there. If our flight leaves at 7 o'clock, she wants to get there at 6:52.
Yep.
Like, I want to get there at 5, and I don't mind hanging around. I'll be on the iPad, maybe grab a beer, whatever. Her, absolutely not.
I'm with you. I have to get there early.
Yeah. Well, we have a mutual friend here who broke up in an engagement years ago because she was always late.
Good for him. Good for him.
Said, I'm not going to go through with this marriage.
They define the starting point of the round by the rope gallery stakes, green bike fencing, and or blue stakes, blue dots, or blue lines. He was allowed to remain in the tournament because he gets that 5 minutes.
Yeah, you had the 5 minute buffer.
Like he talked about. Yeah. So, what a wild start. And he'd be tied for the lead. Incredible.
It wouldn't even really be a story now if he shot like a 79.
That's right.
But you're spot on. I mean, to echo what he was saying, the mental fortitude out there to go out there and actually shoot a 67.
Well, then the comments are gold. I mean, I was on time but late. I wouldn't have been late if I knew I was running late.
Do you think so, Johnny?
This guy's a piece of work.
Appreciate that.
That is great.
But you're right. You know, in baseball, broadcasters will tell you that you see something different every single day in that sport.
Yeah.
But that's now twice in 3 weeks that I can never recall. These are happening in golf ever.
And it was Rich in Canada who emailed and said that is 100% on Adam Scott. That should never happen. That he hit the wrong ball and got a 2-stroke penalty.
Like they all mark their balls.
Yeah.
You have to know which one is yours. I mean, it's going to be obvious to anybody who's out there. And he's a longtime pro. That's completely unacceptable. So we'll keep you updated, obviously, with the scores at the PGA Championship, major number 2 of this season. We have the NFL schedule, tons of games that are now out, and also we'll update the Major League Baseball scoreboard with 4 more games coming up tonight. Pitchers are on a 14-2 under run against this team. Find out which one next.
So you're listening to this podcast because you want an edge. But what if I told you you're only halfway there? You've got the mindset. Now it's time to get the toolkit to match. Here's the thing. Pro bettors spend thousands on data and tools, but what they don't want you to know is you can get the same edge for a fraction of the cost with VSiN Pro. With VSiN Pro, you get access to expert picks, public betting data, prop projections, powerful tools, analytics, and more. Tap the link in the description and see why thousands of bettors are already using VSiN Pro to cash more bets.
This is Follow the Money on VSiN.
Time now to get into the 2 hockey games that we have tonight in the playoffs. We'll touch on the Preakness as well. We go out to the Progressive guest line as the great Eddie Olczyk joins the program now. Eddie, thanks for the time as always. You were on that unbelievable comeback last night by the Avalanche. I just have to start with this. You've been around this league and played in it, and you called it for so many years now. How long will it take the Wild players to get over that loss from last night?
Hello, Mr. Paulie. Always great to be with you and great to see you guys when we're chatting together. You guys do an amazing job and always great to be on your show. That's one that's going to sting a long time. They had them over a barrel 3-0, but as we've seen, and we alluded to it last night at the end of our TNT broadcast, myself, Kenny Albert, and Brian Boucher at the end of the first period. I kind of thought that they needed to make a goaltending change and just have the mindset, look, let's just get one. If we can get one, we're right back in this game. Because if everybody remembers early in the series in game 1, that crazy 9-5 or 9-6 game, I'm sorry if I'm not getting the right score, but the Avalanche had a 3-0 lead in that game. And next thing you know, it's 5-4 for the Wild. And so in playoff hockey, you just see these momentum swings and what do you do with it? And yeah, it's going to be a long summer in Minnesota, but for Minnesota, they not having Eriksson Ek and not having Brodin, a top center iceman and a top 4 defenseman against a team that is as deep as the Colorado Avalanche, I think it really showed and it reared its ugly side in this series, and I think everybody was expecting a little bit longer. But it was one heck of a comeback for the Avalanche. They're banged up. No Lehkonen, no Belinsky. Makar certainly looks like he's laboring, so they could use the time off coming up and waiting to see who wins between the Golden Knights and the Ducks.
And who do you think that's going to be? And if it goes 7?
Well, I thought it would be Vegas in 7, Paulie. If you look so far in this series, and I did game 2 in this series, and that's where the Ducks really played. They really played well off of playing, arguably, according to Joel Quenneville, when I saw him before Game 2, he thought Game 1 was as good as the game that they played all season long. That was a Carter Hart goalie win for Vegas. The Ducks have, they've probably played better overall in the series, but here they are down in the series, and they got to find a way to win a game. Their power play has got some confidence right now. So if you're Vegas, you've been there. A lot of these guys have done that. I would expect a Game 7, and then you just never know in a Game 7. You guys know this. The puck bounces a funny way sometimes. But I would not be surprised to see a Game 7 back in Vegas.
Okay. And you're right about what we've seen in Montreal and Buffalo, including the second goal from Thompson off the side, Karam's in, off of Dobish to go in. I've never seen that before. You have. But what do you think with this series now? Another goalie change that for the time being worked out for Buffalo. Who wins tonight, and what happens in that series?
Yeah, Paulie, I think the goaltending in Buffalo, it's been like this pretty much all season long. So I think for the players, and I'm just speaking from a player's point of view, you know who's back there. Whether it's Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen or it's Alex Lyon, it doesn't matter. They seem to be very comfortable with both guys. So I like how Lindy Ruff has handled this. Dobish has been obviously very, very good. And, obviously it was a bad, horrible bounce the other night. I just got to say, full disclosure, the goal by Thompson, I must have missed that class when I was in school because I didn't think a rubber puck on ice could hit the glass like that and go sideways and end up in the back of the net. But things happen come playoff hockey. And if you're not sealing up, as you know, Paulie, that near post there, some bad things can happen. And that's what it did. But I thought this series would go 7 games as well. Super close between Buffalo and Montreal, and I give the edge to the Sabres. The one thing I will say is when you think about Buffalo is when they played their best in these playoffs, and especially in this series, they've stayed out of the garbage. They've stayed out of the pushing and shoving. They've just played whistle to whistle. They played hard. I think they got to just play that way, concentrate and play that way. And they give themselves a heck of a chance to take a commanding lead in the series going into that huge Game 5 tonight.
Let's follow the money here on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network. The great Eddie Olczyk, our guest. He's on the Progressive Guest line. How do you think the winner of this series stacks up against Carolina, and what would be the Eastern Conference Finals then?
Wow. Carolina just looks like they've gone to another level. Now, they're only halfway home, and they don't have a blemish on their in the loss column. I mean, they've been absolutely perfect. Ottawa, I think, played them the right way, Mitch, late in the series, where I think they tried to play, these are my words, nobody else's, I think they tried to play the way that Florida had their way with Carolina the last couple of years. Be hard on them, be physical. Don't be afraid to get in those scrums, but be selective. Pick your spots. It can't be every shift. So if I'm looking at either team to be able to do that, to me it would be more Buffalo than it would be Montreal. But I think that the goaltending question for both of these teams ending up, it's going to be a 6-game series, we know that, but it could end up being a 7-game series. Freddie Anderson, I mean, he looks unbelievable in that goal right now. So, as we said earlier, when you guys had me on, maybe a couple of weeks ago, there are no more excuses for Carolina. And look, they've done what everybody's expected. Like the path for them this year, with no Florida, no Rangers, no Toronto, no New Jersey, the path was there for them, and they've taken care of business. You got to give them credit. So, I think that either team, I think they would be I'd say an overwhelming favorite in lowercase letters. I think that would certainly be the case.
Okay, very good. You had a nice day, Churchill Downs at the Derby a couple of weeks back. Some of the stuff that you called out here on the show and also the broadcast came through for you. How are you looking at the Preakness coming up this weekend?
So the caveat is that let's see you do it again, old check. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, please.
We're going to try. Okay, race 13 on Saturday night. Remember, the Preakness, usually they run that at Pimlico, but Pimlico is under construction. They're going to run this at Laurel in Maryland. And I'm going to go with the number 10 Napoleon Solo for Chad Summers and Paco Lopez. The last race he ran on the 4th of April was at Aqueduct in the Wood Memorial. I didn't think he was on the best part of the racetrack, Mitch and Paulie, meaning on the inside, you didn't want to be down near the rail and you didn't want to be on the lead. He never gave up, though, and that was the one thing that was really impressive to me. He finished 5th that day. He got beat 2 lengths. But the interesting thing is that in that particular race in New York on April the 4th, Oselli ran 3rd that day, and Oselli came back and ran in the Derby and ran 3rd and only got beat a length and actually had the lead at the 8th pole. So this is a shorter race at the Preakness, only going to run 1 mile and 3:16. So I'm going to use, my pick is going to be number 10, Napoleon Solo. I'm going to play across the board. And I'm going to use 3 horses underneath and do a reverse wheel. I'm going to use the 9 Iron Honor. I'm going to use the 2 Oselli, the horse that finished 3rd in the Kentucky Derby. And I'm also going to use the number 5 Talkin'. So my play will be the 10 over the 9, 2, 5. Reverse it, 2, 5, 9 with 10. You like 1, you like 2, box them up, whatever you want to do. But I think you'll get every bit of, every bit of 7 or 8 to 1 on number 10, Napoleon Solo.
Very good. What are your thoughts on another Derby winner skipping the Preakness and not trying for a bid for the Triple Crown?
Well, we've touched on this over the years, boys, and I think that every other sport has evolved. Every other sport has changed. Now, whether you want to say for the better with, 3-on-3 in overtime in hockey, the shootout, the three-point line in basketball, NFL seems like they cater all the rules to the offensive side, more scoring. Home run fences over the years have come in baseball, so numbers are a little different. And I think horse racing needs to get up with the times, and I think that we need to get some separation in between the Kentucky Derby and the Preakness. I think if you added a week in there, if you wanted to go May, June, July, I just think that you got to do what's right by the equine athlete, and I think last year it happened with Sovereignty. And then this year, you're going to see with Golden Temple, they're going to bypass the Preakness, and they're going to run in Golden Temple. Looks like he's going to try to run in the Belmont, being run at Saratoga. So would I love to see it? 100%. But I think it's time that we really take a deep dive into it and make sure that we get enough healthy horses and horses are able to rebound. Some can, some can't, just like hockey players. Some are good then back-to-back, some are not. And I think we got to look at change because every other sport has changed. And the way the game horse racing is going, we certainly have to open up our eyes to doing what's right for the game.
That is a phenomenal answer.
Good job.
Great to see you. Thanks so much for connecting today on the show, Eddie. We appreciate the time.
See you guys.
There you go.
Thank
Eddie
you, sir.
Olczyk. Up next, win some, lose some. Paul's going to recap that beats last night. My good Lord.
This is Follow the Money on VSiN.
Scotty Scheffler now 1 stroke back. He is 2 under for the tournament through 10. You were screaming during one of the breaks. Why is that?
As I said, it's like rooting for the house of blackjack.
Okay. All right.
That's how I feel about it.
Well,
his dominance is impressive, but it's a unique leaderboard, and I hope it stays that way. And it's a nice leaderboard.
Well, correction. He's now tied for the lead.
Oh, cool.
He just made a nice putt. 3 under for Scotty.
I'm afraid he could turn this into the Scotty Invitation.
Yeah, that's 4 birdies now in the last 6 holes. And we go out to the Progressive guest line. Kelly Bidlin joins the program now. You hear him mornings at 7 a.m. Pacific time, 10 a.m. Eastern on our Numbers Game with Gil Alexander, and also one of the co-hosts on a very popular podcast here at VSiN called Long Shots. Hey, Kelly, how are you today?
Doing well, gentlemen. How are you? I'm doing better after a Scotty Scheffler birdie. I'm rooting for the house, apparently, Mitch. I'm rooting for the house this week.
How many different bets? Like, what was your approach with Scotty this week?
Yeah, it was. I thought you could make a lot of good arguments for outrights on the top of the board, but even just in the past couple weeks, I think that there were some guys. I could poke holes in some of their resumes. I think Morikawa stood out, but the injury concerns. I don't really know what you're getting from the live guys. I think that when you're here, Bryson DeChambeau talking about going to YouTube to play golf, your head's somewhere else besides being locked in the game, and that sure looked like it today. So look, we've seen these Scheffler numbers drift. I know it's unfair to kind of bring up some of the markets that we have in town, but Circa was 5-1. We had Boomers at over 5-1. So grab those and use some boosts, right? This is always great. Golf tournaments are great to use boosts. MGM had one of those as well. So I was able to get Scheffler, I think average price, I'm like 518 on the bets that I got down. So yeah, in on Scotty. And then that was really, I played him and then Cameron Young, only two outrights that I played. I played Cameron Young early last weekend.
There's a ton of guys at 1 under and some big names. I'll start with Spieth, Koepka, and Rahm. What do you think of how their round went and their chances coming up now?
Yeah, I think all three are live. There's some throwback names I think that are under par right now that I wasn't fully expecting. That after round one, and you're kind of looking at some stats, man, I think there's some guys that you can lock in on. Obviously, Spieth would be an incredible story to complete the career Grand Slam. Mm-hmm. I'm a little bit out on him right now. Was betting him early in the season, but heading into this tournament with some shaky approach numbers in recent weeks had kind of taken me off of him. And Rahm, like I said before, it's hard with these live guys to really know what you're getting, not only with what's going on with live, but competition is inferior that they're playing against. They're not playing as often, so you don't get to see it as much, and obviously at different times at night. But we know the caliber of player that Jon Rahm is, and we were talking a bit during the break, and Mitch brought it up. Absolutely, one of the best tee to green rounds out there. Fourth in tee to green numbers. Lost over a stroke to the field putting today. We expect some of those putting numbers usually to regress one way or the other with guys like that. So I think he would be someone at 1 under par if you wanted to look. I'm still a little skeptical about what Jon Rahm's win equity is coming back to some of these majors mixed in amongst the live tournaments. But if you wanted to go a live top 10 on him right now, I think that would be a heck of a bet. You're about even money on that right now.
Okay. The stuff on Koepka too. I mean, this was through 15 holes today. Mm-hmm. He gained 6 strokes ball striking at that point. And again, not every golfer had started yet. He was 66th in putting overall. Yeah. I think it's safe to say right now, currently speaking, he'd be the solo leader right now if he had a putter today.
Mm-hmm. No, I think you're right, Mitch. And then, the weather has been a part of the story here. The course, this is always interesting, right? We hit the Masters. We're talking about the same course every single year. Uh-huh. When we get these courses every 8 years, every 10 years, it's, we've got some numbers going into it. We think we know what's going to be important. And then, man, I thought this was one of those rounds today where it was, I gave them way too much credit for the wide fairways and really the undulations just in the fairways themselves, and some of these angles that these guys have had to hit balls off has looked very, very difficult. Pin positions. Jon Rahm said it kind of post round. I thought he had some interesting comments on that early in the week. It sounded like there were rumors floating around the players that winning score was going to be 15 to 20 under par. And he kind of threw out there, hey, maybe the PGA heard that and decided to toughen this up about as much as they could here for the first round just to avoid that. But they very, very tough playing golf course so far through this first round.
Well, we love this. Mm-hmm. I hope it's like 8 or 9 under for the winner. Maybe Paulie's right, though, and it turns into the Scotty Invitational. What do you make of Justin Thomas right now? He's still out there. He's on 12 right now, I believe, but he's tied. He's got to share the lead as we speak.
Yeah, he's one of those guys. Another one that was higher on earlier in the season. He hasn't put together the results for me to really be confident going back. But man, I'm always a sucker for Justin Thomas. He's such a good player. I wouldn't hate anybody for looking towards him. I'll tell you, the guy that's been slowly growing on me that I've been kind of dipping my toe in and out of betting him here over the past couple months, but he also had an injury flare up at one point. He's another big name, kind of an older guy too. Patrick Cantlay, even par. Cantlay, I think for years we've joked about the outright and win equity there, but I think he's another guy right now at even par, a live top 20 or something like that on him. I played him top 20 for the tournament before the tournament. I think he'd still be a good play right now at current price.
Do you want a future on Higgo? And what transpired today that you could say that's pretty impressive to start with a 2-stroke penalty and you should have a share of the lead and you're able to bounce back and maybe he's certainly aloof though with the 1 second is hard to define and I was on time but I was late. These quotes are insanity.
I heard on PGA Tour radio in the car his live interview. I could not believe some of the things that he was saying. It's just like kind of like, I was over at the putting range. So like it was just none of it made sense. None of it tracked, Paul. It was like it's not really my responsibility to be there on time. I'm not going to show up 10 minutes early. It's like no, this is how it works. Every other PGA Tour player does it. Get in line. Very odd because it is a shame. I think like some of the other names near the top of the leaderboard, he's an extremely talented young golfer. And it's like, he's just lacked consistency over the beginning of his career. And it's, maybe if you're thinking that way, this is what's holding you back a little bit, Garrick. But yeah, I think to Paulie's point, I think there's some fun names on the leaderboard. I mean, Min-Woo Lee, he was a guy that had just not put together the ball striking numbers here recently to have me interested. But, in theory, this was a course that could fit him very well. Ryo Hisatsune was a great ball striker and probably the best Japanese player right now on the PGA Tour. With all due respect to Hideki Matsuyama, Hisatsune has had a heck of a season to start here. We know what Aldrich Potgieter has done before. Young guy, bomber off the tee. Is he going to be able to put it together for 4 rounds? Probably not. But yeah, I think there's some fun names near the top for sure.
Let me throw a couple more at you here. Some guys who are very popular going into this event did not have great rounds today. They were not awful, though, either. Like Ricky Fowler right now is almost 8-1 to finish top 5. He's plus 335, plus 340 to go top 10. Russell Henley around the same number. And one other guy, Jason Day's 84-1 to win this thing right now and 9-1 finish top 5. He's 1 under. I think I'm going to have to get involved in some Jason Day numbers.
Okay, Jason Day is a guy who seemingly all season long, I'm just checking right now, he's kind of rated out highly for me. Yeah, he was a top 30 at least kind of in my last 16 round model. So he's been rating out high for me all season, it feels like. And then, Ricky Fowler is a guy that I look 3 top 10 finishes coming into this event. Mm-hmm. I felt like he was a good swing high, aim high, bet this week. I bet a top 10 on him at 4-1. That's probably where I'd still look. The approach stats, and really the big thing with him early in the season, he was playing very well, but the around the green and scrambling was a bit of a concern. And we knew that, or we thought that was going to be really important this week. I still think it's going to be important. He's improved in that over the past few tournaments he's played in. So he's really locked in right now. I do like Ricky Fowler to make some noise this weekend. And man, what a PGA championship it would be, right? If you had Jordan Spieth in the mix, Ricky Fowler in the mix, this is a dream come true for the PGA Tour if you got those guys over the weekend. Yeah,
you're not kidding. In about a minute left here, is there anybody that we did not bring up yet that you have your eyes on, or is that pretty much it?
Yeah, one other one I would throw out there, heck of a ball striker. I had a first-round leader bet on him. I don't think it's going to get home, but Kurt Kitayama is same thing. He's had around the green and on the green struggles, but we've seen this guy when he's at his best. He's about as good as anybody out there. A hell of a ball striker, really good driver, really good on approach. And with these greens being pretty tough to hold, he stuck out to me today. He's the other one I think if you're looking at a top 10, top 20, want to go a little bit longer, I might not be betting with outright, especially with Scheffler at the top. But one of those placement market finishes, I think, could be a good bet with him.
Very good. You can follow him on X at Kelly Bidlin. Listen to him mornings at 10 o'clock Eastern on a numbers game, and also the weekly PGA betting podcast that we have here at VSiN called Long Shots. It's awesome. Kelly, great spot. Thanks for the time, buddy, and best of luck with the tournament.
Yeah, you guys do. Thanks. Always happy to hop on, man.
Appreciate it. We'll look at some Major League Baseball futures coming up next. At least one award could turn into a great race loaded with like 7 or 8 contenders as we speak.
This is VSiN, the sports betting network.
Always follow the money.
That's what I always say. You always follow the money.
Yeah.
This is Follow the Money with Mitch Moss and Paulie Howard on VSiN.
Super excited for this. What a way to start the hour here. We go out to the progressive guest line. Huge fan of our next guest. Bobby Fairley joins the program. Well, he's done so many great things in his career. Something about Mary, Dumb and Dumber, Kingpin. The list is endless. There's a new movie coming out tomorrow on Prime Video.
All pass.
Called Driver's Ed.
Oh.
Absolutely. He's been to Santiago, Chile twice already this year.
Who's been to Santiago, Chile twice?
And he also loves betting the NFL. It's great to see you again, man. How are you?
I'm great, guys. Good to see you both. It's an honor to be here.
Well, it's an honor to talk to you.
You're the best, man.
And you told us a story off the air that you're going to share coming up as well, who you play Survivor with. On top of that.
Yeah.
So we'll get to that.
Yeah, I play Survivor. You know, I would like everyone else. I don't want to have. I have a team, but I also have a team I do with my brother Pete and Owen Wilson, and there's three of us, and we alternate whose week it is. And so, you know, if I went first, then I got to make the pick. And so if the team loses during your week, you're under a lot of pressure because you not only have to foot the bill for the whole team, but you also a pretty stiff penalty to the other two guys. So we've been doing this for years, and it's a lot of fun.
What's the penalty? Can you share?
It's 5,000 a head.
Okay.
Ooh.
All right.
Not bad.
That's good. You guys. So is that just a regular Survivor? Or do you guys come out here and play the one in Circa?
We play the Circa Survivor.
Oh, very good.
Yeah, it's our team, but that's how we do it. You know, we just if it's my week, I pick. You know, I just tell the guys who I pick. We have a couple of course, we have some teams that are circled that hey, they're playing on Thanksgiving, and you know, you need special permission to use certain teams, of course. But yeah, we alternate picking. It's a lot of fun. It raises the stakes. It feels like because the other two guys are just you know. They're always questioning, what? That's a dumb pick.
Yeah. Well,
So-
is Owen a big sports fan?
Yeah, Owen is. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. He loves sports too. Yep. Yeah, Owen's an interesting cat. He's really fun to hang out with, as you might imagine. I know you like Stick, right? His TV show on
Apple.
HBO,
Yeah,
the golf show. Yeah, he's great. He was never a golfer. His brother Luke is a really good golfer and takes it real seriously. Owen wasn't. Owen's a pretty good tennis player, but he had to learn how to play golf for Stick. But he's a super competitive guy. He plays a lot of games like backgammon and chess, and he's a very good ping pong player. And he's just, no matter what it is, I don't care if you're shooting free throws or whatever, highly competitive and surprisingly good at things.
The Patriots came out of nowhere last year and surprised a ton of people getting to the Super Bowl. Now with the distraction of what's going on with Vrabel, what are you thinking? What happens with New England this year? Although they get Dobbs and they apparently are going to trade for A.J. Brown, do you think they have another big season?
Certainly, you know, it's going to be a little bit swimming upstream this year, just because they're not going to catch anyone by surprise. And I do hope this Vrabel thing just, you know, they can get just back to business. I love Vrabel. I'd hate to see him get fired over this. It was a dumb thing he did, no question. But can you imagine what the over-under percentage is for guys in the NFL who have something going on the side? It's going to be 73% minimum, right?
Do you think players do?
Players will be higher. But, you know, so he's just one of those guys, and he got caught, and he looks, you know, like a fool. And the thing that they did that I didn't agree with at all is him missing that one day of the draft, because I was like, whose idea was that? That was dumb, because it was a Saturday or Sunday? You're not going to marriage counseling on a Saturday or Sunday. And for him to miss or supposedly miss this day, it makes it look like it is interfering with his job. And I think by and large, something like this, except for it being a big nuisance, shouldn't interfere with his job as a coach.
Yes, good point. Tell us about Driver's Ed, about the movie, and we can find it on Fandango Home and also Amazon Prime tomorrow.
Yeah, it comes out tomorrow. It's on demand. Amazon Prime has it. You'll have to rent it, I think. But it's a high school comedy story. Jeremy is a senior in high school, and it's the beginning of a new year. And his girlfriend has gone off. She's a freshman in college at UNC Chapel Hill. And that thing where it's a senior high school freshman in college, and he can tell it's not working. She's about to dump him. And he's taking driver's ed at the time, and he gets a text, and he panics and decides, I got to go save this relationship. So he basically steals the driver's ed car, and there's 3 other students in the back seat of the car taking the class with him. And so they reluctantly agree to join him, and he drives to Chapel Hill to save try to make it so the girl doesn't break up with him. And it's a big adventure. It's high comedy, a lot of fun, very funny. It's got some heart to it. It's got some really good performances by some young actors who you may or may not know, but they're great. We have Molly Shannon, Kumail Nanjiani, and Tim Ball. It's a really good cast, and it was a fun movie to make. It reminded me of like the old John Hughes movies when I read the script, like Breakfast Club or Ferris Bueller or something like that, where it was about high school, but it wasn't typically nowadays high school stories are really dark, and like there's just a lot of
like Euphoria
dark stuff going on. And this is more like it's more of like a romp. Stuff happens. It's set in modern day. They're real kids in modern day, but it's about a lot more about comedy.
Would you describe it as raunchy comedy, or is it cleaner?
No, you know what? I wouldn't describe it as raunchy. No, I mean there's a little bit, but not overly. No, it's just. I don't think it's raunchy, but it's fun. It's got a nice mix of story and comedy, so it's a fun take. I think you guys will like it.
No doubt.
Definitely going to check it out.
Is it harder to be funny today with how times have changed? Like you couldn't make Tropic Thunder today. I don't know if you could make something about Mary today. So
no.
Right. Okay.
No.
So So is it harder to be funny then and make comedies?
Yes, it is. It is. Yeah. As you may have noticed, like comedy almost went on a hiatus. I mean, there was so many years of you can't say that, you can't do this, you can't joke about that. There was a lot of that going on, and so they just decided, the studio's like, oh, it's safer to not even make a comedy, and so it kind of went by the wayside almost. There's not completely, and there's some on the streamers and all that, but not like there used to be. There's no big comedy stars anymore. There's no Ben Stillers, even Owen and all those guys, Will Ferrell, and they're just all kind of, they're there, but they're not what they used to be. And so, yes, the answer is yes. It's harder to do it, but I think it's coming back, Paulie. I do. I think people need to laugh. Our world's crazy, and it's like it's easier when you're able to laugh at some stuff, so not everything is just so serious or sad. So
100%.
Comedy's healing, and I hope that it comes back, and particularly in the theaters. Like this movie here, it's in a few select theaters across the country, but by and large, it's a streamer.
Oh, that's where I was going. I'm glad you brought that up. So he went to Something About Mary back-to-back nights. I went to Dumb and Dumber in the theater back-to-back nights, and the roar and how the whole place went crazy. Are we going to lose that summer blockbuster, that movie experience now with all the streaming and what's happened? And will it hurt the movie experience and people going out?
I think so. I agree with you. Like, there's 2 kinds of movies that are a lot better in a theater than watching it at home, and then one of them's comedy, because when other people are laughing, you start laughing too. I mean, you might even, it's infectious. It's like yawning, right? So comedy for sure, and horror movies too, because there's that palpable energy in the theater if something's scary and everyone jumps, and it's so. They still do horror movies in the theater, but they don't do many comedies, and I do hope they get back to it. I hope that we as a society can just say we need comedies. We need big laugh out loud comedies in the theaters.
They could really tilt Hollywood on its head, flip it on its head again with a great comedy that would be like rated R. My example would be, to your point, about how the comedy experience in the theater is so unique. When I went, and this is probably like the biggest compliment I could ever give you, when I went to There's Something About Mary, it was a loaded theater. It was the opening weekend, and it was such a great crowd that it was so loud with laughter. I missed so many key parts of the movie. I'm like, I can't hear because there's so much, we're just dying laughing, and the entire theater was. I had to go back the next night for how much I missed as a result.
Yeah, well, those are the good old days.
Yeah, truly.
Yeah.
And I, like you said, you went to Dumb and Dumber back to back. And I remember going, I remember who I went with in 1994 to go check it out. It was like, oh my God, this is unbelievable. Hit it out of the park. We also,
Paulie, Jim Carrey, Paulie, has a lot in common with both you and me. And do you know what it is?
What?
You, me, and Jim Carrey are kindred spirits in that we're all hockey goaltenders growing up.
Is that
Jim was
right?
a goaltender too.
I didn't know that.
He was a goalie. He's Canadian, and I've skated with him. One night we rented the ice and we just did a skate around. And he could definitely skate. He knows what he's doing. But he was a goalie, and he also is a surprisingly good athlete. He's super strong. He's like that wiry guy, but man, he's strong. Like we were doing these things on set where you kind of, it's a balance thing where you like whack hands against each other and see who tips over, and nobody could beat him. He's like, he has like a force field around him. It's bizarre.
Very good. We're going to continue with Bobby Fairley up next. Driver's Ed drops tomorrow. Prime Video. Fandango home as well. He's on the Progressive guest line. Much more to get into, including attacking the NFL season. The schedule is going to get released tonight.